If you're going to call Pete Hegseth an insider threat based upon a tattoo as your evidence, you need to be able to articulate at least what that tattoo is.
Michael, where do you sit with this?
Well, so much of what Wajahat just said is not true.
This is the power of a single, well-placed, well-timed question.
The most egregious accusation you make against him, though, is that he's an extremist because he has a tattoo. Could you tell us what the tattoo is?
Questions have a power because they must be contended with. You can either engage with a question or ignore it, but then the other person can just continue to ask it until you do contend with it.
The tattoos specifically, I did not make the allegation that he's an extremist. It was actually
you
his,
repeated the
fellow
allegation.
colleague
So what's
who
the
called him
tattoo?
Because evading is almost more revealing than just contending with it. Because this is what it looks like.
Yeah, right. So what's the tattoo?
I can tell you it says
it was his fellow
Hang on, let Wajahat answer, because Wajahat raised the tattoo.
Right? Go ahead.
Wajahat, it's a fair question. What is this tattoo that you're so upset about?
Piers Morgan, the Jerry Springer of politics, knows exactly what's going on here. He can see where Michael Knowles is going with this, so he doesn't allow the other person to jump in because he knows this is going to be very bad for Wajahat if he cannot articulate a response here.
It was his colleague. Wait. Two things.
Wajahat, hang on. Simple question. What is this tattoo that you're so upset about?
I wasn't the one upset about it. I was talking about his fellow colleague. This is exactly what I said. His fellow colleague.
Do you know what it was?
In the U.S. Army, called him out as a potential insider threat.
What is the
tattoo?
tattoo?
The tattoos on his chest.
What is the tattoo?
Also, I called him an extremist based upon his own book.
All right, so now he's trying to pivot away from the tattoo and claim that it's because he wrote something in a book and his other statements. He's trying to get away from this tattoo as quickly as possible.
Read the book,
what
American
is the
Crusade,
tattoo?
his own words.
If you don't know what the tattoo is, just admit it.
Oh, my Lord.
So like Michael Knowles lit the fire by asking a single question. Piers Morgan is bringing it home, essentially.
Listen,
would you
what
like
is
to
it?
tell you what the tattoo is?
I want to,
I'm happy to inform
No, I'm
you.
genuinely intrigued. Do you know what it is or not,
We got a
Wajahat?
panelist.
Wajahat, do you know what it is or not?
She hasn't spoken yet. A woman hasn't spoken yet.
He's trying to pass it off to someone else now. This is bad. This is bad for him.
She's going to come. She's going to answer the question you're not answering. Final question to you, Wajahat.
I did answer it, but
final
go ahead.
chance.
I got my colleague right here.
Be honest. Be honest,
right.
Wajahat. Do you actually know what that tattoo is or not?
Listen, what I do know is I read his book, and in his book, if you read it, called American Crusade, in his book, wait a second.
Yeah, and he goes back to the book, and Piers Morgan is doing a great job of not letting him off here, because purpose is to drive these moments and guide the conversation where it's going to create the most engaging content at the end of the day. He knows that's what they have right now.
Be honest.
His book.
Be honest.
I am. Look.
Ironically,
you guys are putting lipstick on a pig
no one's going to crucify you if you don't know the
Donald
answer.
Trump,
but do you know the answer?
Putting our national security at risk for Pete Hegseth. I am telling you everything, and you guys are finding ways to spin. Why are you guys okay with a man who has an NDA with a woman that he allegedly sexually assaulted?
Do you know what the tattoo is
I
that
said
you got
exactly
so
what I
upset
said.
about?
It was his colleague. His colleague called him out as an insider threat, not me. His colleague.
Is a simple question.
And I also said, go to his book, read his words.
But just to be clear, Wajahat,
you've got
Heat stuff.
I am too extreme from the U.S. military. Pete Hegseth's own words. Why are you okay with that?
Pete Hegseth said he's too extreme for the American military. I mean, but there's a lot of subjective readings to that. Maybe that's like, I'm just too badass for the military, like for the standards that have been lowered. I don't think that's very solid evidence.
Where literally in his book, American Crusade, he says he's too extreme for the U.S. military.
You don't know, do you?
Oh my gosh. All right, let's look it up right now.
He goes to try and Google it. It's priceless. And Piers Morgan's like, no, don't look it up.
Don't look it up. Let's go back to Michael. Michael, hang on. Michael, we gave him his chance. He obviously has no idea. Michael, what is the answer?
This falls along a threat as an insider
threat. I've gone back to Michael now.
2021 pegged Pete Hegseth as a potential insider.
You had 98 chances to answer and you failed the test.
Well, a lot of people have said it's true. It's essentially the argument. A lot of people have said this is true, so it must be true. A lot of people have said J.K. Rowling's transphobic, so she must be transphobic.
Sorry, I'm going to Michael. I'm going to Michael. Don't talk over each other.
And then Michael Knowles clearly articulates the reality of the tattoo.
Michael.
The tattoo in question is called a Jerusalem cross. That this is a medieval Christian symbol, goes back a long time. In fact, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, there was a Jerusalem cross on the floor of the cathedral, and on the program for the funeral, there's one other tattoo that some have suggested could be extremist. It's the phrase Deus Vult, which is a medieval Christian slogan, a long traditional slogan that refers to God's will, and it goes back a long way. These are very traditional, very mainstream Christian symbols that not only are not extreme in any way, but which even the people who want to accuse him of extremism couldn't possibly name. That is pathetic.
When I make a video like this, I'm not claiming to be an expert in what this tattoo means or Pete Hegseth's background. I'm just contending with the logic that's being articulated by those on Piers Morgan's show.
And let me go back to something that was said in the very beginning, that he spent more than 10 years at Fox News, and that's what qualifies him to be in this position that he wants to be in.
I don't think anyone's making that case because of his time at Fox News. That's his primary qualification.
However, based on my time at Fox News.
I said that was one of the things.
To present it like that is an oversimplification.
Pete Hegseth has written himself while at Princeton, saying that women who are passed out, if you have sex with them while they're unconscious, that's not really rape.
I would ask the question, okay, where specifically did he write that? I would like to see that very much. I find that difficult to believe. I'm not saying it's not true, but something about that seems like a stretch.
You cannot possibly have somebody running our military who has said that women who are unconscious deserve to be raped because it's not really rape. You can just go have your way with them.
I would need to see that to believe that. If anyone has that, paste it in the comments below if you can find that passage. It goes to the idea of innocent until proven guilty. If you're going to accuse someone of being guilty of something, you need to be able to at least articulate why you think they are guilty. You need to have evidence to back that up. It's no different than attacks on J.K. Rowling and why those arguments often crumble because people just echo the stories that they hear, and upon closer examination, they crumble.